And look at Randy Orton slithering.
Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
KO! Here's the cover.
Hey, what's up guys, and we're back today with a vid on, as I promised yesterday, and we'll be back tomorrow again with another. Today we're looking at the Tier 8 in the British tank, light tank line that got introduced yesterday with the LHMTV, the worst name for a tank ever, and what we're going to be expecting from it. And I've already covered it in the first video for the Tier 7, what these tanks are like. So if you want my opinion on that, just go back and watch the video on the setter. The first like 5-10 minutes is kind of my synopsis, I guess, of what the scouts are like overall. They're pretty underwhelming, as is expected, but there are some positives, I guess, to them. So let's dive right into stats on this little bad boy. Starting with the gun, I guess. It's the most important part of it. I would thoroughly assume we all would be interested in. So a little bit of a step up from the Tier 7. This Tier 7 only has 75mm or the 135 alpha. This one goes up to an 85mm, which is a bit strange of a caliber, but it's still better. And it's a 230 alpha, which is kind of the similar gun to the Centurion 1. All those tanks you see at Tier 8 for the Brits. So kind of similar in that aspect in terms of the alpha damage. Again, continuing with that trend of the Tier 7, the pen values on this tank are actually pretty decent. 226 on the AP and then 258 on the APCR, which is very good actually for a Tier 8 light. Pretty surprised about that, pretty happy with that, if I say so myself. Aim time's not too bad, 2.2 seconds. It's not great, it's not terrible. And again, the accuracy is about 0.37. Again, could be better, could be worse. Kind of middle of the road, mediocre. Kind of a theme with these at this point. But also going into like the engine of it, only 150 horsepower, so a little lacking there. It's kind of another theme with these tanks, a little lacking in the power ratio, I guess. And it doesn't help, but kind of to be expected, I guess, a little bit. And with the engines, should be noted, and I don't think I noted yesterday, most of these scouts have a 20% fire chance. So when you see me running tea, aka food consumable on these tanks, it's really risky actually. If you get shot 1 to 5 times getting lit on fire. So I don't know if I totally recommend running the food consumable. If you want to, great, go for it. I'm still going to do it because I got to uphold the Super Unicum oath of always running food, apparently. So, but just something to keep in mind for you guys. You may want to run something else or swap out. I don't know. But just something to keep in mind with these tanks as well. And you see, the rate of fire isn't that great on the gun. Obviously, only 6 rounds per minute. It's not great. This thing is a little faster as well than the Tier 7. I think it has top speed about 63, so it's a little nippier, I guess. Still doesn't mean you should be doing stuff like this. I'm just a madman. And you can see as soon as we go in bad terrain, we're slowed down dramatically. I'm right now just being, this is just a dumb play. I'd do it too. But we're going to get away with it because, I don't know, for some reason we're going to get away with this crap. So, bit lucky here. Ignore this ridiculous play. Don't ever do this. This is stupid and this is bad. But, moving on from that, the view range is a little bit better on this one as well. It's 380 meters view range. I think I mentioned that in the video yesterday. So a little bit better, but still not great for scout-wise, especially at Tier 8. And again, this thing is very light, sticking to that trend, so don't get rammed. Don't ram anything. But if you see these tanks, yes, please ram them. Kind of goes to the trend of them so far. And yeah, pretty much the line sticks to a pretty much the same playstyle all the way through. Doesn't really change at all. And this game is a little difficult because I saw he was on the other team. It was another top clan 3-man platoon on the other side, and I can already say this tank probably would normally struggle against other good players. Just pretty obvious, I would think, in terms of DPM and stuff like that. You can still make this gun work. Having the extra alpha definitely helps. 135 alpha on the tier 7, which is very, very underwhelming, personally, with that reload it has. So having the 230 alpha, while it doesn't seem like a ton, it's enough to actually be a little more useful for taking tanks out and such. So I'm a little more happy with that. I'm happy overall with this tank. A little bit more than the tier 7. It's a little nippier. Like this overall, I think it's better. I'm currently on the tier 9 right now, and I think the tier 9's maybe the sweet spot for this line. It actually has pretty, I don't want to say great rate of fire. It's only like 0.3. It's a little bit quicker than this. But so far I've been enjoying the tier 9 a little bit more than the tier 8 and 7. But focus on the tier 8 right now. And see, we're doing pretty well on it so far. Again, minus the DPM issue, I actually kind of enjoyed this thing when I was playing yesterday. Again, I realize it's still probably the worst tech tree tier 8 light tank. With probably the prior nominee being maybe the Bulldog or the Batchat 12T, one of those two, at least in my opinion. But it plays kind of similar to the Hawk 12. That'd be the best comparison to previous tanks for this one. Again, it looks similar to it because it's got the rear mounted turret going on for it, and it's got similar alpha. But unlike the Hawk 12, it actually has shell velocity with its AP and APCR rounds, versus if you played the Hawk 12, you know that thing has no shell velocity to speak of whatsoever, but it does have a lot better DPM. So similar, but a little different. Again, this thing has great camo. That's to be expected at this point. So pretty self-explanatory there. Same equipment setup too, of camo, or not camo net, sorry, of optics, rammer, and vert stabs. You could run vents instead of vert stabs. I didn't mention that either yesterday. You could do that to help the DPM a little bit if you really wanted to. I chose to go with vert stabs just because I do stuff like this. I'm a little more aggressive even in tanks that probably you shouldn't be that aggressive in, but that's just how I play. So I'm going to go with vert stabs personally. That's another reason I don't run caminated binos on these, because generally, also speaking, this conversation came up yesterday in, I think, Swindle's stream, of why you shouldn't or should not use camo net binos. Most maps on console, you're not going to run into maps that are that great for that passive kind of scouting. There's maybe a handful, like 5 or 6, that you could generally do pretty well passive scouting on, versus most of the maps you'd rather have optics. Optics are working 100% of the time, versus, you know, the binos only work some of the time. And generally I can max the rear range out pretty good even with optics. And something to note right here, what we're trying to do with this Vanguard and bring this crazy game back a little bit, you can note that even if you run into a little bit of debris, it can be kind of difficult to maintain that speed, because again, it weighs so little, as we're going to take out the Vanguard and bring this game back very close. But you see, even with the ammo buff that this tank got as well, again, all the tiers got ammo buffs, I'm still running a little bit low here. I don't know if that many people will run into this issue. I'm just, yeah, maybe a little bit of a me issue, I think, at this point. But we're down to 9 shells, and they have a 3-man tier 8 TD platoon, and now one of them is on the cap. A little bit done talking about the tank, and just talk about this endgame scenario. It's me and this T78, who's played pretty well, I think, so far. And I can't spot what's on the cap yet, so I'm guessing it's the SU that we saw earlier, and sure enough it is, with his 2 Diamondback or Turtle friends. And I'm loading the HE, but unfortunately he's actually behind that destructible cover, which for HE is not good, because yeah, that just happened. Would have been nice to get that HE pen, especially with only having, you know, 9 shells left, but that's okay, as we're going to get the reset there. And hopefully our little T78 bud can get shot into him as well. And we're going to put another one in. and leave him on a 2-shot for us. But again, we only have 6 shells left, and there's still 2 turtles. And yeah, we don't really have the shots to deal with 2 full health turtles, because guess what? They're both full health. So this is going to be an interesting one for sure. As you see on the stream, some of you may saw yesterday, this was a little bit interesting. How am I going to win this one, or try to win this one and give it the best shot? So the turtles are still out of range. I was kind of curious if they were close, maybe giving him supporting fire, but they're still on their way. So I'm going to go in on this guy, trying to stay on spot until the last second. And he's still going to be focused that way. It's pretty obvious, I would think. He thinks he's safe. And he doesn't have a full rotating turret, so we're going to sit there. And now it's time to get the hell out of Dodge and see what we can do with 5 shells against 2 1400 hit point tanks to try to win this game. So we have the position on the one guy, and we have a likely idea where his buddy is on the other side as well. So my idea is, okay, I've got his location. He's far away from the cap. Where is the second guy at? And I'm just going to go on a scouting run through the middle a little bit, because again, this thing has decent camo. So, well, good camo actually. So I'm going to abuse that and see if I can't spot him up on the hill maybe. That's my kind of guess. But actually he's further up near this rock, which is actually probably better for us, because we can get around him and he doesn't really have support from his buddy immediately. So we can put a couple shots into him. If he was really, his best case here would be to push, put himself up against the rock here, so I couldn't get around him. But instead he's just spinning in circles, which is good for us. And I'm just hoping for a fire here. That's the engine of the turtle is right about there, so we put one in for the first fire. And here, a little bit of a misplay, I could have just shot him in the same spot and got probably another fire and saved this last round. But it's okay, because at this point we can take this guy out. And now that other guy is so far from the base that I'm out of ammo, and I'm telling through radio commands to C-78 that we need the cap, because I can't do anything to the other guy. As much as I would love to farm another 1400 hit points, and I think I could if I had ammo, but we don't. So the smart play here is to get in the cap. He is never gonna even be close to coming all the way back here. I know where he's at. He's on the other side by our cap circle, basically. And especially if the T-78 gets here and we put 2 on the cap, we win this game easily, even without any ammo. And that pretty much sealed it right there. Is he gets on an R cap out of desperation, I guess. I don't know. Farm some efficiency points. It doesn't matter, because we're gonna win this game. Do a little bit of nice teamwork here at the end and pull this one out, even when this game looked a little dire, and make this LHMTV light tank look really, really good. But buyer beware, the results may vary. So we're going to finish this game out with a Top Gun, it appears. 6 kills. A little bit of assisted damage, which is always good. Didn't get much assisted on the start of this game. I usually like that spot, but we didn't have much going that way, and they didn't have much going that way either. That could be shot easily as we finish the capping the base and win the game. So nice little result here we had on the stream yesterday. Pretty good. And I think we picked up actually 4,700 damage as well, which is I was not expecting to do this much damage in this tank right away, at least. Probably was expecting it to be a little longer, as we picked up 2,200 base XP, nearly 2,300. You see our T-78 bud also picked up about 2,300 damage of his own, so nice GG to him. It's a nice little way to finish that game out. Again, it would have been nice to get another 1,400 hit points. Maybe if I had been a little more careful with the shells. As you see, we missed quite a few. Again, this thing has 35 rounds of ammo, but yeah, overall a very solid game. A solid tank, not the greatest, not by far. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys next time. See you.